Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Steve. This is the Fandom Show. And, earlier today, the legendary wrestler Hulk Hogan died at 71 years old. It was a heart attack. And, of course, as you can imagine, ever since then, the entire internet has just been exploding with all kinds of varying opinions about this. So, hey, I have a pop culture YouTube channel. I'm going to go ahead and throw my opinion into the mix. Obviously, Hogan was a very polarizing figure, both inside the business and out of it. To go into all that in detail is out of scope for this video. This video is just for me to share some personal thoughts. So, I mean, I grew up in the 1980s. It's peak Hulkamanian era. And yeah, I don't mind admitting that back then I was a pretty big fan of Hulk Hogan. I don't have a whole lot of specific Hogan stuff in my wrestling memorabilia, but I do have a VHS copy of WrestleMania 3, which features the legendary match between Hogan and Andre the Giant, where Hogan body slammed Andre, and that's generally considered the kickoff of Hulkamania, depending on who you ask, but that's the big event that, for the most part, kicked it off. I have this other VHS tape, The Immortal Hulk Hogan. This from 1992. It just includes some Hogan matches on there. It does actually include a rare match between Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair when both were in the WWF during that era. And then, of course, I have a VHS tape here of WrestleMania 7. The main event was Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter during the Iraq War. And then even in the DVD era, I purchased the Hulk Hogan anthology, and it's got a whole bunch of matches on here and a documentary and all that. So yeah, back then, I was a Hulk Hogan fan. Since that time, I've changed. Obviously, a lot more has come out about Hulk Hogan, who he is, what his political opinions are, etc., etc. And it's certainly true that probably for the past, 20 years, say, I haven't really agreed with much that Hogan has said or done. But I can still appreciate the fact, that when we were kids, he brought me a lot of entertainment. And, I enjoyed being a fan of wrestling in large part because of Hulk Hogan. Now, I have here a replica of the WWF Winged Eagle belt. And this was the championship belt that, for the most part, Hulk Hogan had when he was wrestling in that era. And I mean, as kids at the height of Hulkamania, we were all into it, man. Like, anybody who was around them would put this belt on their shoulder and be like, "Well, you know something, Mean Gene? Let me tell you a thing or two about the Macho Man, brother." And just, like, run a whole promo pretending to be the Hulkster. We'd be out there leg dropping our friends, or, trying to rip our shirts off or whatever it might be, because, we were really into it. And I'm not ashamed of that. He was wrestling back in the day, and when you watched wrestling, obviously, he was there a lot of the time, and so he entertained a lot of people, and again, no shame there at all. In the 90s, he reinvented himself as Hollywood Hogan with the New World Order in WCW, and that was another really, really fun time in professional wrestling. I mean, the business has never been as crazy as it was then, and may never be again, quite honestly, but when you talk about Hulk Hogan, he's got a very checkered past. There was all kinds of stuff, whether you're talking about the steroids or the backstage politicking or his feud with Randy Savage or the way he held young guys down, etc., etc. I mean, you can go on forever about various things that Hulk Hogan did. And in a lot of ways, at the end of the day, Hulk Hogan was... he was a selfish person. Most people who knew him would say that. Most of the things that he did were primarily for the benefit of Hulk Hogan. I know they say you're not supposed to speak ill of the dead. I mean, this has been well documented. Hogan has a history of being very, very pro-Hogan before anybody else. Now, I never met the man. I don't know him personally, but I do know that there's a lot of stories out there about how he's cast other people aside for his own benefit repeatedly. In terms of his political opinions, he's not just conservative, but he has some very strong opinions about race and various things, and I don't personally agree with a lot of the opinions that he has. Of course, he has the right to have those opinions. I have the right to have my own opinions and not like his opinions, but I never... of all the wrestlers I wanted to meet, interestingly enough, Hulk Hogan was never super high on the list. I mean, I know he's an icon in wrestling. There's no doubt about that. We basically, in large part, have him to thank for wrestling being what it is today, because without Hulkamania and the big expansion with Vince McMahon in the 1980s, the WWEs that existed in really professional wrestling as a whole in North America wouldn't be what it is. So, I mean, I respect him for what he did. I know that it's, he kneecapped a lot of people along the way, but you can't argue that, he wasn't have a massive impact on the business regardless of all that. So, very mixed bag when it comes to Hulk Hogan. A lot of people voicing a lot of opinions today. I've been kind of mulling a lot of things over my head myself about what's happened, but I've sort of settled on the fact that, okay, I have no shame about being a fan of him when I was a kid. I don't really care for the kind of things that he was doing more recently in his life, and that's okay. Now, sometimes you look at it and say, well, okay, you have one set of people that can separate the art from the artist, and you have another set of people that can say, well, no, I mean, it's Hulk Hogan, and if he was a jerk in his personal life, then I don't care for his wrestling career or anything like that. And if that's you, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, as I am entitled to my opinion, and people are processing this in all kinds of different ways. But again, I think that regardless of how you process it, there's no denying that Hulk Hogan was a major pop culture fixture really for decades, and that his death is opening up a lot of dialogues in pop culture, in politics, in professional wrestling, and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future. But for a generation of kids who grew up during Hulkamania, it was a fun time. It really was. And I'm not gonna again feel bad about enjoying myself back then because everybody else was doing the same thing. But yeah, we lost a wrestling legend today in Hulk Hogan, and his legacy, I'm sure, will be debated until practically the end of time. But I wanted to put this video out, just sort of give my opinions on it. I'm going to be watching the Fantastic Four tomorrow night at the theater. Can't wait to give you an update on that. Oh, unrelated to anything Hulk Hogan, I did see Superman this past weekend. Oh my God, great movie. If you haven't seen it, please go see it. This, honestly, I think is the best Superman movie since the Christopher Reeve era. I mean, it's just that good. So do yourself a favor, go see Superman. It was awesome. I will be back with more stuff soon, but that is all I have for today. So thank you very much for watching.